Okay, I'm Ashleigh. I'm Melissa's younger sister by 12 months. So longest friend. I work for RMDY Collective now. I'm the general manager of the Academy and RMDY Collective. So here up at head office is where I'm based. Growing up with Melissa was fun. It was so fun. I always had that best friend for life. Like I just socially never, oh my God, I already feel emotional. I told you today was a bad day. Socially, I just always knew I had Melissa. Like anywhere I went, I'd always come home to Melissa. And like, I know we have other siblings, but it was just different. Like we just went together. And as that younger sister, I know she spoke a lot and carried a lot for myself. I was probably the quieter child, in a sense, until I was a teenager and just really came out. And I was just like, here I am. Don't forget about me, because Melissa was always the radiant one and she was smart and good at sport, and I was absolutely none of it. But I felt like I had this personality just came out, and I hid behind humour, and I was that annoying little sister that everyone was like, your sister's so rude. And Melissa would just be the nicest person, so they'd be like, that's not your sister. It's so true. It's like I was just that little annoying sister our whole life. But yeah, very lucky to have a big sister like Melissa. Probably when she had Jackson, that was a really emotional time in my life, and it was so unexpected. And then my obsession with Jackson, I think I was there like all the time and just wanted to hold him and just hold her too. It was just such a big transformation for her. Like just went from so mature living with dad to like her whole world changed, and just like watching her flourish in that was just two peas in a pod. Just literally every memory was with Melissa. She has a great memory. I don't. I like completely blank. But she could tell you 100 stories. Melissa's the kind of person that just shows up at my door or calls me on her way to my house. Like we don't plan anything. She can't plan anything. Like I always know what she's doing, but it'll always be those days where she just goes, I'm coming down. I want to see you and the kids. And like that's so special that she would firstly drive so far, because I don't do it. Like I'm so guilty of like, oh no, you're too far away. Like we'll plan something, but she's like, no, I'm coming down to see you guys. Like we'll do this. What do you want to do? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, like that's so nice. Melissa shows love very different to me. She's the kind of person who we don't plan anything, but she'll call me in the car and she's like, I'm on my way to see you, or where are the kids, or what are you doing? And she'll drive all the way down just to either come for dinner or spend a few hours. And I know she's doing other things along the way, but she always makes a special note to come in and see me and the kids. Obviously, she's the godmother of my child, so she's very special to her. How does she show her love? Just really unexpectedly. She's not a present giver. She will be the sister who calls and says, oh, you're buying Miles a present, just buy one from me. Like she doesn't think about that. She's not a giver in that sense, but she's a giver in her time. Like even last night, she was down after a huge day, and props to her that she then had to drive home. But she came down and just spent like an hour just playing with the kids on the floor, and like that real quality time when she can. Like I know it's so hard for her to switch off, but that real presence that she has with my children one-on-one that I had with her kids many years ago, that she really makes time for, is really special. I always said as kids we were big Neighbours and Home and Away family. Like that was our hour of TV, because mum would have the glass of wine, dad would just be pondering around. Like even this is like when we were 2 and 3. I vividly remember like we would always watch Neighbours and Home and Away. And then as we got older, I still watched as a teenager, we would always dream of being on Ramsay Street. Like that cul-de-sac living where you've got the gossip, the doctor, they're like everything, just like a little bit of drama, but just like always being in that close circle. So yeah, her moving away has been a big shift, but it is what it is, and we're going to get a helicopter. Melissa has changed so much. She is, if you walked in the door when she was a toddler, she was just absolutely manic, obsessive. I mean, she's still a little bit, but then in her teenage years, she got a little bit of rage. Then she obviously went to, like, you would just never imagine. Melissa worked at McDonald's. That was her first job. Then she worked at Aldi, and I honestly thought she was going to work at Aldi forever. She would tell everyone about Aldi. When she's passionate about something, it's like, I'm an Aldi manager. Like, this is a great job. Like, look at the career. I'm like, okay. Then she was studying to be a pilot, and I was like, really? Like, what is the end goal? Like, she just wanted to try everything. And every sport, every academic, everything. And then when, she was studying naturopathy, she was still living at home. I'd been working since I was 17. So I was like, I was a career person from the day dot. I was like, get me into a business, like that's it. She had no idea. Like even, I remember when she was going to Endeavour College, like I would drop her on the way to my 9-to-5 job going like, you are such a dropkick. Like, what are you doing? She'd go get a coffee and she'd like just be socializing out the front of this college. And I'm like, oh my gosh, honestly, see you later. Like, so wasn't my thing. And then when it was probably when I was, obviously a lot of people know the story, when I was chronically ill was when I was in that 9-to-5 job in the Fortitude Valley. So I'd drop her in the valley and then I'd go to New Farm. And that was like that, when that spiral really started to sink in, where I was on long course antibiotics. And then that all just sort of unfolded from there. So yeah, from the naturopathy to homeopathy, and just hasn't really looked back. Like, of course, she's had the children and like little steps along the way, studying more, learning more. But yeah, it was always homeopathy from, I'm going to say we were like 19, 20. It was always like that niggly of it, and it just got more and more and more prominent as she got older and learnt more and became a mother. Like, it was just like, okay, like this is what my family needs, and like this is, it's just from there. So my journey with homeopathy, I was chronically ill up until I was 16. I was pretty healthy, perhaps suppressed child, as I mentioned. I did come out of myself in my teenage years, had a boyfriend, one thing leads to another. I started getting urinary tract infections. But they weren't your typical UTIs. They were straight to my kidney, in my bloodstream, straight to hospital. Jaundice, fevers, delirious. Same. Yeah. Just having the most intense fever dreams. Like I could not function. No matter what I took, I could not function. Didn't even really know it was a UTI. It took a lot of digging around. Mum would take me to her GP at the time and do all these tests, just suppress my nausea, and I could still vomit even though I'd like have all these injections, and I was like, I'm still vomiting. So my typical symptoms were vomiting, fevers, kidney aches, and then just completely gone. So that was when I went into hospital. I was 16, turning 17. I was in that hospital pretty much all of grade 12. So I missed most of my education in grade 12. And every time it happened, there was no answer. It was antibiotics, a week in hospital. Oh yeah, you're all good now. And then it's like, no, here I am again, like a few weeks later. That went on for about 2 years. And that just became normal to me. And I was like, okay, you get the whole, there was nothing I could really do to prevent it. It wasn't a UTI in the sense that every nurse would tell me what to do. And I'm like, thank you, but like, no, thank you. It's not just a burning symptom. I'm like not overreacting here. Like, this is serious. I started seeing an infectious disease specialist who actually treated my dad like 30, probably 40 years ago now, when he was stabbed with an AIDS needle from a patient. And so that was funny. I was like, my dad like saw you. So he was like I'm going to say he's like 75-year-old specialist who really specialized in the most infectious diseases in the country. And I was just like, how can we not figure this out? So I saw the urologist, did all those cystoscopies, like every invasive treatment a 17-year-old would be absolutely traumatized. Imagine a 17-year-old girl lying in a hospital bed for a cystoscopy. I've got 6 men trainees watching me from the stomach down, like as this thing's being injected, and like I'm wide awake. Like this was like, it was really intense. And then doing the dye scans, like that would just make me so ill, like just the most uncomfortable you could imagine a young woman feeling. Fast forward I saw him probably every, I'm going to say 6 weeks was kind of like my recurrence at that point. He put me on 6 months of antibiotics, of rotational antibiotics. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. That was pretty much his answer. And he's like, okay, well, if you're not going to do this, here's some ciprofloxacin, which you can go research it now. And I was put on that, told to take that as a preventative before I had sex. That was it. I was like, okay, so you just knock it out, knock your body off before you even have the chance to get an infection. Like, actually insane to think about now, like 15 years later. So I did do that, and I guess my body became quite resistant to that. And I was like, my gosh, if my body's resistant to like the top drug, like what am I doing? Like that was a big like, no, like this is way too much. My incontinence was absolutely insane as a 18-year-old now. Like I'd go to Kmart with Melissa, like she'd drive, and like all my thought was where's the toilet everywhere I went. And I think that started a lot of my claustrophobia, was like, where am I going? Like if I'm in the car for a long trip, it's like, where's the service station? Like that kind of like just debilitating. Then come 18, I started my job at Ray White New Farm. I thought this is it. Maybe like I'd gotten out of a previous toxic environment, out of my toxic relationship. It wasn't really toxic. I mean, it wasn't for a 16-year-old toxic. I mean, I wouldn't want to marry him, but like nothing was wrong. It just, you know, we were young and dumb. Yeah, came into New Farm. I thought, okay, new environment, healthier, new, like this is all good. Smacked to the curb again. I was like, this is like, I can't keep a job here, right? And go into hospital for a week and just like not know when that's going to happen again. Like the symptoms hit and they hit. Like I can't not be in hospital. And then, yeah, one day Melissa goes, okay, well, she'd obviously spoken to Peter. I didn't know what she's talking about. She's like, will you just come to, she says it's Gloria Jean's. I swear it was like some other woo-woo, like coffee somewhere. But it was in that Valley precinct, like Chinatown. I was like, hey, this is so weird. Again, I'm thinking, where's the toilet? I remember going into the toilet, doing an anxious poo, and I was like, just sitting there. I was like, oh my God, like, what am I in for? Like this chat with this, like, Peter was like probably 50 at the time. I don't know, what is he now? Late 40s? Sorry, Peter. I was like, this old man, like, I'm like, so timid. And he just asked all these questions. I had Melissa there as my support person because I don't think I could even speak for myself. Even when I was going to these just general doctor's appointments, like I just lost the ability to recall this whole thing, because it's like every time you spoke to someone new, you had to tell the whole story. But like he asked different questions and I was kind of like, you know, so I was just like, what do you care? Like, and this was probably like 2 hours this went on for. Probably went to the toilet 5 times. And then after that, I remember I felt like a bit of like, oh, like, okay, that's done. Probably a few days, I think Melissa went into the Valley and got my remedies because they had like a student clinic there. She went in and got my remedies. And the first thing I noticed was the urgency to pee. It was like, okay, well, I can hold my bladder right now. I was like, this is weird. Emotionally, I don't remember, because like you're asking like a 17-year-old when they're emotional. I was always emotional. And so I didn't really remember that emotional release. I knew I had a lot of anger, but like I couldn't tell you any specific stories. Like Melissa knows when she does her cases now, she obviously knows like, oh, this came up or this came up. I don't remember. I remember my symptoms changing dramatically. The urgency to pee, a little bit more like inner peace, calm. And then it just sort of like, it went like 6 months with no issues. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. I was like, okay, how much longer can I go? And like, it was always in my head, like that pain didn't really go away. And then I think I did more of a constitutional thing as Melissa dabbled in it. And I don't really know what happened, but time just kept going on. And then I slowly started to forget about it. And I was like, okay, well, like I'm cured. Like this is it. Like I'm done. I'd been in other relationships since then. Also in that point with my first relationship, like they wanted to test my boyfriend and they wanted to test, and I was like, it was just really like, just so much to really fathom, like to get to that root cause of like, it just was, yeah, unbelievable. And I'm not saying I've never had a UTI ever since, but it's like that whole picture of what a UTI was to me was like completely broken. It was like, you know, I can still have a UTI and get sick, but it's not to that extremity. So like I can tell when my body's now out of alignment, or like if I'm stressed, my body will go back into that state. But yeah, that was about it. And then she changed to be a homeopath. So you're all welcome. Oh, what do I admire most about Melissa? Definitely now her voice. Like with any conflict that she feels she can speak. And I know a lot of people have given her a voice and egged her on, but like even when she just speaks as a sister, like the way she speaks to me is like she has so much to share, so much wisdom, like beyond all homeopathics and all this other world. It's like she actually has so much compassion, which I absolutely love. She has never, ever judged me as a parent. She's let me go down these routes and try everything for myself without pushing. Like, and I think, and I read it in my emails all the time, is like people just appreciate being heard. And like she's just such a good listener. She's so compassionate. Yeah, and just wise, like beyond her years, like in a way that I'm not. Like I might be streetwise, but she's just absolutely a sponge of everything. Like you just want to squeeze it all out. Wise, definitely courageous, and loyal. Like we've had our fights over the years, but like she's not going anywhere. Like she is absolutely the rock in my life. Like I said, I wasn't all in when I became a mum. I was learning for myself. How has homeopathy changed my family? It's like just to question things. It doesn't have to be the answer to everything. We might dabble in other bits, but just knowing that like you have so many options and to try what works for you. Their day-to-day, obviously, have beautiful, healthy children who have just got such good energy. Like I feel like if that's something Melissa's taught me, it's just be like have a positive influence on people around you. And yeah, homeopathy is always there, but also just like loving your kids and nurturing them when they're sick and just doing those other bits too. You know, we don't need to dose them on everything, but yeah, just a day-to-day life is like look after each other. Right, so how we came to be Remedy and how we even began working together. I was probably 6 months postpartum with my son. Our mum was retiring from real estate, so I'd always been in like the family business for like the last 10 years with mum. So I loved working with mum, and I said, I'm not going to do real estate without mum. Like I'm not going back to work for another real estate agent. Like that's not, like I loved working from home and running my own show. So I guess when mum was retiring, I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And Melissa's like, come on, like, let's make some first aid kits. And I was like, sweet. Like she was living out rural and I was living in here near a post office. And I thought, bugger it, like I'll help her make these. And she just brings them down and I pack and send, or I hand do customs forms and all those tedious jobs that she needed me to do. And I did that. And then I just went like, there's a lot more to that. Like there could be a lot more to this business. I had obviously helped a lot behind the scenes before that with a bit of her socials when I was pregnant and we'd always been talking about her plans and her business. So it wasn't a shock to me that this business was going to thrive. It was like just a matter of timing, like when and what are we doing and what are the plans? And Melissa's not really a plans person. She's like, oh, just like keep going. I'm like, okay. So we kept going, and then I was like, okay, well, we've outgrown my garage. So I was like, what are we doing? Like, do you want to take this to the next step? And then we ended up getting the warehouse down the road, which was just an literal storage shed, but they let you run small businesses from them. So I was like, this is great. Like, it at least gets me out of the house. About 6 months after that, we hired Kirsty, who's our now warehouse manager. I just met her at the cafe, had a chat. She knew all about homeopathy. I was like, fantastic. Like, come on, this is it. Again, she just worked in a storage shed, like no toilet, no kitchen, no fence. Like it was just, we were just all like working to survive. It wasn't like anything crazy. We still didn't have any big plans. It was just like, here we are, this is what we're doing. Then when we started to grow from there, we started doing Welcome to the Revolution, the first one. And then we thought, wow, this is like, people actually have so much to learn. And then we're like, okay. From that, we then brought on Crystal. Crystal came in here and we're like, okay, so now this is like a team of 5 people. I'm like, this is feeling more like a business. This feels more like we need a business plan, Melissa, because we've got employees now. Like this isn't just fun. Like this is serious. So then we sort of created Remedy Collective in the whole motion. From there, it was just like, we haven't lost momentum since. It's just, all of us have our purpose in this business. Obviously, Melissa is a huge part of it, but to get Melissa's ideas into action, it takes like a whole army of us here, which is the fun part. Like I love coming up here and being around people. I love seeing the growth. I think on the board now we've got 15 total employees, and that's including people we've got 2 English and 1 Irish, a lot of Queenslanders. But yeah, just seeing the whole company grow and flourish. I just absolutely love it. And here we are, and we're just getting started. I mean, like any sisters, we have our moments, and I think a lot of people thought we were so crazy to work with each other. But that just line of communication and that FaceTime chat every day. And then, yeah, Melissa just being honest. Like sometimes she says, Ash, your calls are stressing me out. I'm going, okay, well, like, let's figure that out. It's not like I'm not an emotionally sensitive to like confrontation. I'm like, okay, well, if this is freaking you out, let's fix it. Like, I don't, like, our being sisters is more important than this business. But like, as we say to each other, like, I wouldn't be in this without her. I don't want to be at Remedy without Melissa. And like, she's like, if you quit, I quit. So it's like, we've both put a lot on the line to have this big company now, I guess, medium, small, I don't know, small to medium. But like there's a lot of skin in the game now for both of us, and just having that honesty and, you know, we it's not tit for tat. It never has been like, I work more than you, or, you know, you're not doing enough. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, she knows that I'm here, but being a mum is my priority. And same for her. I'm like, you're not spending enough time with your kids, or you're not doing this, or like you're giving too much. And like, here I am, I'm taking away because I'm like, I need like a minute with my kids. And it's like, it all balances itself out in the end. Like just that honesty and being able to run a business, yeah, with family it's not for everyone, but like it can be so great. Melissa is a professional. Okay. She is a fantastic lecturer, like obviously very engaging. People love that about her, the energy she brings, the compassion, just the passion in general for homeopathy. But each and every student, like any student I mention, she goes, oh yeah, like she'll remember them. I'm like, wow, okay, like when do you speak to these people? And she's like remembering back to like this tutor when they did this, and they're in a tutorial group with this person. And I'm going, okay, like she just, that level of like how much she's invested in it, and like each and every person, like top of mind, like really makes a conscious effort to know people, know their story, and get to help them like one-on-one. She just absolutely loves it. And I guess that live aspect of the academy is that she does get to speak to people, and she's not just behind a recording that they just sit and listen to. It's like that engagement really brings her to life. Where do I see Remedy in 2 years? We'll be moved out of this warehouse and into our new healing centre headquarters, which will have the student clinic, warehouse and office spaces for our team. From there, I'd love to duplicate it, replicate that, the Sunshine Coast, interstate, wherever we can and wherever the demand and the help is. I would say that's a pretty realistic 2 to 5 years to have those up and running. Just a place for people to come. And I remember when I actually went to a naturopathy student clinic when I had my UTI initially. And yeah, just going in and like, that was just so fun, cheap, easy. It's just like something where people can come in and try something new. It doesn't have to be anything amazing. It's just like that eye-opening and having the space to hold these people to come in and learn and be seen. In terms of 10 years, like, whoa, we will be old. 43 and 44-year-old Melissa, we will have teenagers. I don't actually know what our life will look like. I think we will live closer together, but I don't know who's going to give in. I would think that we'd be international by that point. I would really hope that we could take this to America initially. I know that they're ready and hopeful, so if we can, we will. 10 years, hopefully both happily married and getting along. Bigger team. But yeah, just doing what we're doing. Like, it's fun. It's like there's not much I'd change about our day-to-day. But just seeing that next generation, I think it won't be so much convincing, it will just be like available. It's not even like, it'll just be so readily available that you won't have to think twice. And when people say, do you know about homeopathy? It won't be like, I won't be standing at the park telling someone what I do for 20 minutes like I have to at the moment. I'm like, hopefully I can just say, I work for a homeopath, and it just be end of conversation. Because right now it's like, what do you do? I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't have all day. But yeah, I just feel like it'll be more accepted, healthier world. I think that we're on the right path for what we're doing. Blinkers on, of course. There's a lot of crap going on around us. But yeah, the world will be good.